$22 trillion of debt, $11 new trillion just from the last decade alone to save us out of the Great Recession. And guess what? It can't stave off what is coming next. My name is Chris Crone. I've done nearly $1 billion of real estate, and I want you to be prepared for what's going to happen in the coming collapse and how you can cash in on the crash.
'Cause we're gonna be legends. What we're doing here ain't just scary. It's about to be legendary.
So every year I pay 6 figures to attend this week-long retreat. It usually happens in a wintry place because it's all about preparing for winter. And I got to hang out and snowboard with some of the most successful people on the planet, successful business owners, billionaires. And the reason why I spend time with them is for a couple of reasons. First, because they say that you become the average of the people that you hang out with. Because I have got really big mission and really big purpose in my life, I'm hanging out with people that are up to really big things. But this economic retreat is also about having a chance to hear from the brightest minds about what is coming next. Because right now for the United States and for some of the world, we're sitting in fall, spring, summer, fall, winter. Fall is harvest time. Fall is when people are basically out there doing business, collecting on all the money that they're making. And you know what comes after fall? Winter. And in winter, that's when we hit our recession. That's the part where companies go out of business, companies lose it, unsustainables. And if you take a look at what happened in 2008, something happened. The government got involved, they lowered interest rates, and with financial easement, they dumped $11 trillion into the economy. And what it did is it meant that the Great Recession wasn't as bad as it probably would have been. And one of the questions that they were debating and asking in this, as we were hearing from people like Ray Dalio, that's returned over $50 billion to his investors over the years as one of the most successful hedge fund managers, or last year hearing from Ben Bernanke, learning about the economy, having Tony Blair there and having him talk about the world economy and everything he's learned from his 10 years as prime minister. And you know what? There is consensus amongst all of them that we got a recession and it's just right around the corner because we cannot sustain all of this debt spending. And can we really afford to spend ourselves out of this next recession? Harry Dent was there, and one of the things that he brought up that I thought you need to know about is he said, with this collapse coming in 2008, should we have introduced $10 trillion into the economy to stave off the recession and make it as bad as it could have been? Bernanke last year said, yes, that's what we needed to do. But you know what? At the end of the day, we are artificially propping up our economy. And what it means is that the next recession may hit harder than many of us actually plan on. Whether it's going to be minor or whether it's going to be huge. A lot of the economists that were there and talked about it said that what we have coming up around the corner, which could be as early as September 2019, definitely hitting the market, they believe, in 2020, is that you could be anywhere from losing 30 basis points in the stock market to seeing something far more substantial because we've got all this past debt and we can only take on so many trillions. If you look at our military spending, nearly $500 billion, over $500 billion, we're spending almost that much just in interest alone. So can we really sustain where we're going? And why do you need to know this? There's a couple things that I want to share with you today that I think will help you understand when the collapse comes. There's going to be blood in the streets and people are going to be crying foul and there's going to be all these concerns, but does it have to be that way for you when winter comes? Does it have to be the worst of the 4 seasons when things die, or could it be your most brilliant season? Let me tell you just a little bit about 2008. When 2008 hit, I had only been an investor for about 5 years. I had built up a really solid track record and I was buying all these homes in my backyard. But when the market came crashing down, we recognized that when everyone is running this way, you go the opposite direction. That's where the opportunity lies. So we went into the hardest hit economy markets. We went into Phoenix, we went into Vegas, we went into Florida, and where they had overbuilt too many homes, we set up our team, our infrastructure, and we bought thousands of these homes. Thousands of homes that were selling for $250,000 to $300,000 that we were buying for how much? We were buying them for $80,000, $100,000, $120,000. I noticed during this period of time that when the economy collapses, that no one is there to really clean up the economy. The government does their best to re-stimulate it, but the people that actually produce the greatest winnings during winter, it ends up coming down to the entrepreneur and the investor. And those that have some might say a really high risk tolerance, I would say that you have a very low risk tolerance. And I want to explain that to you. If you have a home, it's a very tall home because at this price point, it was selling for $250,000, $300,000, and it was artificially inflated. Well, guess what? That home to build costs around $200,000. Do you know what this difference is called? This difference right here is called the bubble. Anytime something goes up higher than the price of what it costs to build outside of reasonable fees, you start building into a bubble. But guess what happens down here? These homes dropped all the way, we'll call it here, it's buying that home for $100,000. Now, if it costs us to build a home, does it really mean that it has dropped $100,000 in value? No, it means that there's too much inventory. It means that there's too many homes out there in the marketplace and no one's there to buy them except for who? The investor. Buying this home, let me ask you, is there a demand for this home? Not for purchase, but for rent. Because when the economy goes down, guess what? The population doesn't shrink. People still need homes. So this home goes from a home that someone owned and it becomes a what? It becomes a rental. And these people that are renting this home, they make all their payments and we hold this for 5-7 years, period of time. And guess what happens 5-7 years later? The price of this home goes back to rebuild. It goes back because real estate over time, I want to make sure you understand this. Even though it moves in a wave, real estate is always increasing in value. So guess where we are at today? We have gone past the rebuild value. The prices are continuing to go up and up and up. We are building our next what? We're building our next bubble. And that means that when we fall off the deep end with the upcoming recession, right now some of those experts say that real estate is really going to be feeling it in the beginning of 2020, or it could be later in 2020. But when it comes, the question is, how can you be prepared to take advantage of this? I went in, I bought 3,000 different homes in those markets. This time I'm preparing to go in and purchase 70,000 homes. I'm going to be deploying $1 billion. And by the way, if you're not a subscriber, you're going to want to be a subscriber because a video is going to come one day, you ring that bell and that video is going to say, it's here. And everyone else is going to be terrified running this way. And I'm going to be saying, it's party time. It's game time. What can you do between now and then to make yourself ready for it? You got to get in the game of real estate and you got to start buying. Wait. Start buying homes right now? Shouldn't I wait until the market bottoms out? No, if you know what you're doing, it's always a beautiful time to be investing in real estate. I'm personally averaging 20 to 30% returns on my properties that I'm buying today. And I want to share with you a little secret. I don't buy $300,000 homes. I don't buy $500,000 homes. I don't buy into multi-million-dollar projects. The homes that I'm currently buying right now are between $50,000 and $150,000. So when the economy comes crashing, $1 million home becomes what? A $500,000 home. And a $500,000 home becomes a $300,000 home. And 300 becomes 200, and 200 becomes 180. But between that $50,000, $100,000, and $150,000 range, do you know what you have? You have insulation, which is why in 2008, my company skyrocketed, and right now it's about to do that again. I'm inviting you to take a ride with me. Think about it. If this cycle only hits every 12, 15 years, then just take inventory on your age right now. When will the next one be? Fast forward 12, 15, 18 years from now. That will be your next opportunity. And what will you have missed in the meantime? You will have missed the best opportunity to be in the game of real estate. Why do I want to deploy $1 billion for real estate? It's because in an economy like this, if a $100,000 home goes back to 200 or goes up to 250, then we can take $1 billion and we can turn it into what? We can turn it into $2 billion. Does that make sense? And you can do it in a relatively short period of time. And then when you impose leverage, $1 billion actually becomes $3 billion, $4 billion, or $5 billion. So this is a period of time where I have a goal. In the next recession, I want to make $1 billion minimum. And I'm asking you, what's your plan and what are you going to do? Now, depending on your age, you could be saying, Chris, I'm way too young, or I don't have money to get in the game. I didn't either. You might be saying, I don't really know what to do. I don't know what my first steps are. The first step is to empower yourself with knowledge and a game plan. You have to know what your game plan is if you want to get where you want to go. And I've got one for you. In fact, I've written 4 different game plans. I just came out with my 4th book, and I decided to make it really un poquito, really small. And what I wanted to do for that book is I wanted to say, you're one of 4 people. You're either starting with nothing, and this is your game plan to make your next million, or you're starting with a little bit of money, and this is your game plan to making your next million, or you have some money set aside, and this is your game plan, or you have a lot of money, and you want to get it straight into cash flow product. This would be your game plan. So, I hate to say that you are so simple that I can put you into one of 4 buckets, but it's not about labeling you. It's about me empowering you with knowledge that can get you where you want to go. Now, if you click the link in the description below, you're actually going to get a chance to get my book for free. Every year, I order a massive amount of them, and I keep giving them away until they run out. And right now, I have a bunch in my storehouse. And if you'd like to get your hands on it, There's no cost for that other than the shipping. So all you have to do is click the link below. I'll send you the book in the mail. You can diagnose for yourself where you're at and where you want to be. And what I can promise you is that no matter your financial situation, by acting now, when the recession hits, whether it is 10 months away, 12 months away, 18 months away, what you can do between now and then is exactly what will prepare you to take the most advantage of the fact that the politicians are screwing up. We're $22 trillion in debt, and the current president is not going to have to face up and clean that up because it's outside of his time. That's not going to impact his legacy. It's going to screw up the next president. Someone's going to have to come in and solve that. But part of that solution is you. Part of that solution is me. And you know what? Every 12 to 15 years, the call comes for an opportunity for you to skip generations and step into a high degree of wealth right now. So no matter where you're at, now is your time. You got to be prepared. You got to be ready. Get your hands on my book. It also comes with a free consultation. So you know what? There's a number there. Call up my team and say, hey, can you guys give me my first steps of what I need to do to build wealth? And my promise to you is that we will empower you with the knowledge so that you'll know how to move forward in your life. Lastly, knowledge is power if you act on it. Execution is everything. So, my friend, what you need to do right now is you need to make sure you are a subscriber. You need to ring that bell. And if you know someone else that might benefit from understanding this information, I want you to share this video with them. Share them with your mom and dad. Share them with your friends and let them know. The recession is coming, but it doesn't have to be doom and gloom like it will be for most people and your neighbors for 5 to 10 years. It actually can be the most profitable period of time for you, and you can love winter. Take care, my friends. Catch you on the next video.